to item 6, which is the Bedworth Civic Hall, and that's over to you, Councillor Mark.
Thank you, Chair. This report sets out the recommendations from the OSP meeting on the 28th of June, following an accepted calling regarding the third sector model. At Cabinet on the 24th of May, the report was presented detailing the next steps for the venue and the timescale, advertising opportunities for a potential lease agreement, following a selection exercise in accordance with the legislation and guidance that is being followed in this instance. At the Finance and Public Services OSP on the 28th of June, the call-in was scrutinised and the outcome of that meeting concluded that the recommendations approved by Cabinet on the 24th of May remained. The only difference to today's report are the timescales, because although they remain the same, the start and end date have changed to reflect the period between the May Cabinet and now. I therefore ask for approval of the recommendations printed in this report at 2.1 to 2.3.
Do I have a seconder for that? Oh no, I'll second it from the chair. So, public speaking, I have on the order a statement that was received which will not be read out tonight because the person making the statement is not here. So the first member to speak on the public will be Rachel Hardy. 3 minutes.
So, councillors, we'd like to discuss the report on the agenda. I'm going to draw you to the report, the report regarding the Bedworth Civic Hall. It is in the agenda on page 18. Point 3.8 defines what a third sector model should be. I don't think I need to read it out, it's in the report. But it makes it very clear it's not a commercial entity. So then if I can take you to point 4.1 on page 19 of the same agenda. The definition of third sector in this exercise does exclude commercial operators. Again, I don't need to read it, you're perfectly capable. So, will the commercial operator that is potentially bidding, or may bid, or if there's more than one, I don't know, will they go to the trouble and expense of bidding for you just to throw them out in the final stages as they don't meet the criteria set out in the report? Also, can I ask why the same bidding process hasn't been used for Stockingport Community Centre? It doesn't make sense to any of us unless the plan is to let all interest parties fail, so the council can knock it down as per your original plan. Having had positive talks with the Arts Council and the National Lottery Committee's Fund, 6 weeks is designed to exclude a third sector model. It has taken the council longer than 6 weeks with all the resources, people at your disposal to put a bid pack together, but you expect a community group to put together a multi-million-pound bid in 6 weeks. It's unrealistic. Thank you.
Any points of clarification? I'll move on to the next speaker is Stephen Young.
Thank you, Councillor Golby. The leader of this council sets policy. It is he that appoints and guides members of the Cabinet, and it follows that it is he that is responsible for himself and his councillors if it all goes right or wrong. He was the leader when officers had secret meetings with consultants over the future of Bedworth Town Centre. It was these meetings that put forward the plans to demolish the Civic Hall and the library. Meetings where participants were asked to turn up in casual attire. Good God, they even codenamed it Dark Ops. He was the leader when Councillor Kyle Evans, as portfolio holder, asked officers to influence the conclusions made in the consultant's report. And we have the evidence. He is the leader when you receive cabinet briefings from officers where the figure of £840,000 to keep the Civic Hall open first appeared. But he didn't tell us that it actually said in that report the physical cost of the council was £387,000, £450 cheaper than the headline figure he decided to peddle, and a figure that had been repeated many times on radio and in the press, and we do have the evidence. He was the leader in charge when it was discovered that seating occupancy had been miscounted in the Civic Hall and that 28,000 people had been missed off. It was this original figure that led to the assumption that 350-seater theatre would be more suitable for Bedworth. And we have the evidence. He was the leader when the resolution was passed to seek a third-party model. And even now, your own report contained in the agenda appendices for this meeting states that under that resolution, a commercial private bidder would be disallowed. And again, we have the evidence. He was the leader, and the book stops with him. At the OSP, when the code name Dark Ops was brought up, councillors implied I was lying. The next day, the evidence was there for everyone to see on social media. Will the council leader instruct Councillor Evans to issue me with a public apology? It is him, in his capacity as leader, and the council, when answering questions from the Coventry Telegraph on the subject of Dark Ops, he likened it to a bad script from Hello Hello. He accused us of making it up, and yet we have the evidence. If this is a script from Hello Hello, which character is he? Please listen, I'll say this only once. He may be the leader, but he really isn't a General von Klinkerhoffen, more like a general disaster. He has presided over a cabinet and council that has spun the truth, but not the whole truth. His administration has put obstacles in our way throughout this process. Isn't it about time he does the right thing and admits he's wrong and possibly resign? Thank you. And within 3 minutes.
Any points of clarification? No.
Can I invite Janet Batterby to be the next speaker? Thank you.
Evening, everyone. Right. Everything about this bidding process is inconsistent and reasonable and pitched against the third sector model where financial assets need to be developed over time. There are many successful such ventures where councils have worked with volunteers to establish a viable long-term business, and I'm sure that our hard-working CIC, many of whom are here, could likewise succeed given a more cooperative council. We taxpayers all need to know that our council takes care of the finances, but I'm not saying this only once, I've said it before. The unreasonable 80-20 split is summed up by the phrase knowing the cost of everything and the value of nothing. Community and social value must be worth more than 20%. A 6-week timetable is totally unrealistic for any serious bidder to address the potential community benefits. Any serious bidder will need to know the length of the lease, unless, of course, they intend to make a quick buck for a couple of years and then cut and run. Maybe that's what the council are seeking, so that they can get back to the demolition agenda of the so-called vision for Bedworth. Proposals for the surrounding environment, such as car parks and transport availability, also need to be defined. People need to get there, and car parking will need to be available long-term unless the council only want a short-term solution, which again leaves us wondering, or me anyway. Proposals for the leader's recent press release suggested that the CIC should get on with the bidding process instead of the Dark Ops affair. How are they supposed to do that when the necessary information has not been released? I understand it's due tomorrow, but it's a bit of a moving target. Have bidders seen inside the building? Received up-to-date boiler reports, asbestos reports, fixtures and fittings listings. These and many more topics must all be relevant for any lease agreement. And as the council well knows via its own experience, any approaches for quotes to external funding bodies needs much more than 6 weeks. So my plea to you is that you extend the deadlines and treat the CIC fairly and do away with this ridiculous 80-20 split. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any points of clarification? Next public speaker, I've got Joanne Browning.
Thank you. On the right, In October, Councillor Wilson took this decision along with fellow councillors and failed to reopen the Civic Hall to the public as our much-loved entertainment venue. He stated in the local Telegraph that people would also feel the loss of a much-loved building. But he also called the Civic Hall a carbuncle in the chamber. But then in the last meeting, he told me that he had strong family connections to Bedworth and a love of the town. So what's his stance on this? What's his motives, and yourself, councillors, with the transforming Bedworth plans? These were sold to the public, in Councillor Wilson's words, as a bold vision with ambition and aspiration for the town. But in how many years, councillors, exactly could this possibly start? You know it's not going to happen for years. He also stated on record you would give the community a chance to be involved and influence the proposal. So I stand here today asking you to actually fulfil what he's publicly said and allow the community to bid to follow the third sector model that Councillor Goldberg proposed in a motion in December and correctly follow the procedures set out in the EOI, instead of these new terms that have been agreed in Cabinet. We, as the Bedworth CIC, have been very encouraged by the email sent to Secretary of State Michael Grove MP, and his thoughts are hopeful. His response back encourages us to make sure you rethink and actually see you are not following the correct procedure you originally set out. I understand there isn't a bright big rainbow with crops of gold to be found in Bedworth, but quite frankly, councillors, nobody believes you anymore and nobody trusts you.
Any points of clarification? Next speaker is Nikki Smith.
Good evening, councillors. I'm here as a member of Bedworth CIC, a group set up to save the Civic. We are still here today, 9 months on, talking. For now, the venue is safe, but what about the necessary community value? Our vision is for a community venue, run by the community, for the community. The Civic has always had social value at its heart, not profit. Maybe I need to explain to you all this in more detail, as all the reports we've been provided with about money and finance, not what the venue provides to our borough. Over the years, we had a cafe where young and old families could meet, where we already had a warm space, where people on their own could come and spend time, reducing isolation and loneliness. We had a stage where children could perform, building skills and confidence, self-worth and physical fitness. We recognise this as high value to reducing teenage pregnancies, STDs, criminal activity, giving opportunity, taking children off the street, allowing them to flourish with trusted adults and other young people. We have provided shows and entertainment, allowing people of our borough to have the opportunity to access performing arts and not have to travel outside the area, keeping money and jobs local. Many local children have not had the opportunity to see a pantomime or show. Finances and cost of living, as we all know, is hard. We've brought literature to life for them. We have many people who have gained skills from working behind the stage, moving on to West End, radio and other opportunities such as education. Some are here tonight. We have had a community venue where we provided support for the COVID vaccine rollout. We were all at the front line of public health, a venture Councillor Wilson has often said to be proud of. Councillors, we were all here, or we were, on the 14th of December, when you agreed to a third sector model, where social value for the borough was put as a priority. You've shown your lack of commitment to the community and their health and well-being by now putting finances over this. Why do you now want to change what the history of the Civic tells us it was set up for? And we have that history. We've been and got it. This is not a change you should be proud of. As a CIC, we can bring finances in that private commercial leads can't. We can provide what the Civic did on a bigger scale. You now need to start to recognise why we are also passionate about keeping this at the forefront of your mind. You and I are lucky. We value theatre and the opportunities for us and our families. Many don't have them. You know this, you have access to analyse fingertip and JNSA data. That's your role. We're in a crisis in the local borough. Health, education and cost of living is affecting many. Why would you actively choose to take away an asset where the community can build up again, receive support? It's short-sighted and you all should be ashamed. I will say this only once. You will have a chance to change this, a change for good, a change for the community, a change for basic health and welfare, a change for local opportunities and a change we can all be proud of.
Any points of clarification? So next speaker I've got Michelle Conical.
Thank you. Part of the building is the Arts Centre, and that seems to have no separate mention. It's really important for smaller groups, for people just starting out. You seem to be against the arts altogether. You've got the stupid decision to lock the car park at the Abbey Theatre, the Nuneaton Arts Centre. The cinema that you're proposing in the Nuneaton, Councillor Spetovic said, oh, and it can also have comedy evenings and what have you. In other words, make that an art centre. Why not use what the borough already has and has already been established? It just seems crazy. And it's ironic that further down the agenda for tonight's meeting, you've got something called levelling up. You're levelling down. Arts is so important for all. Everyone doesn't want to go and see opera or things which cost £100 per seat. But everyone can access things when we've got smaller venues and local venues where they can just walk to. It's just madness. As someone's already said, you seem to know the cost of everything and the value of nothing. Please rethink, because it is just so important, not just for now, but for years to come. And if we close it and lose it, it's just never going to be regained, and that'll be to the detriment of not only Bedford, but the whole borough. Thank you.
I don't have any more public speakers on that item, so are there any non-cabinet members that wish to speak? Councillor Kandaki will get 3 minutes along with the rest of the public speakers.
Chair, when this item went to scrutiny, we found out there was a heads of terms being produced. This is a document that says what people will be bidding for. But no one, it seems, has seen the heads of terms, so we don't know what people are bidding for. And that puts the bidders in a really awkward position, and it puts us opposition councillors in an awkward position, because we do not know if the bidding process is even reasonable. It may say you're bidding to have it as a building you lease. It may say you have to lease it out to the Pantomime Society. It may say you open the little art centre at the back, or it may not. It may say you can open a bicycle shop in it. It may say you can open a bicycle shop in it provided you also open the hall out. We've got no idea what the bidding is for. And if we get this wrong, there could be no successful bidders. We could have wasted £580,000, which is how much it cost to mothball it for a year, according to your accounts, and then get nothing out the process. It is really appalling the heads of terms hasn't been exposed to scrutiny. I hope tomorrow the bidders will see it, and it's not clear whether other people can bid. Maybe the councillors could tell us on the cabinet if more bidders can enter the process, or if it's only the 2 that have been pre-selected. Because those 2 that have been pre-selected may not like the really appalling things in the head of terms, or they may love it. There is just nothing to scrutinise at the moment. So I do hope that this bidding process goes well, and actually we do save the Civic Hall and the Arts Centre, but we have far too much unknown. And if the process is open for my bicycle shop, I will have a look at the bidding process and see if I'm allowed to bid. Because we need to make sure this is successful. And one of the other things I think we need to talk about is whoever takes it over, can they sublet the various parts? because to be commercially viable, we need a bar or something downstairs, or maybe a co-op local. We need the arts centre to do some community. Yeah, we need to know what business models can go to salami slice up the building, salami slice up the bills, so actually we can have the community thing financed by other stuff going on in the venue. Thank you, Chair. I've had my 3 minutes with a few minutes to spare.
Are there any other speakers of the non-cabinet variety? No? In that case, I will open up to the cabinet, and before we do, I would like to just not declare an interest, but declare that I have been contacted recently by people on this matter who have sent me personal messages, who then decided to publish some of those personal messages on the Bedworth Community Forum Civic Hall Facebook page, as if
No, absolutely not.
Not on our page.
No, not on our page.
Bedworth Forum.
I am declaring that I have been contacted by somebody in this matter.
Make sure you're factual.
I am factual.
Good.
I also got sent a link of a video as well.
Not from the CIC.
Not from the CIC. However, I am declaring that I have had contact from someone who has been purporting to be asking for support on behalf of keeping the Civic Hall open. I am doing this for full transparency, because some of the messages that I received are not. I am doing this for full transparency because some of the messages I've received have been published, and they were published selectively to make it look like I had inferred something that I didn't, because it was brought, the messages were published halfway through the conversation. I am saying that they have been published. Private messages on this matter have been published. So I'm declaring that now.
So is my daughter.
I am declaring that now. Are there any points of debate on this?
Yes. Yeah. You said it's on the CIC page, and I'd like to retract that, please.
I said it was on a page.
You said the CIC page. We've got it on video.
Well, okay, if it's not on your page, I apologise. However,
Thank you.
I have seen comments made on your page about me personally, and it ties into this. So,
No.
are there any other...
Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
Rubbish.
That's the ones you said to my daughter, Claire.
Not true.
Yeah?
Honestly.
No.
So, in that, can I just make a point that we are here to follow the recommendations that have been made in this report for the council minutes on, the 2.1, 2.2 and 2.3. Are there any points of debate on this from cabinet members? So for the clarification of the process, Director Hollis, would you like to just clarify what the process will be should we accept this recommendation tonight?
Thank you, Chair. Really, Chair, the process is detailed in the reports 3.2, 3.3, 3.4 and 3.5. If I just paraphrase section 3.5, Cabinet's decision of the 12th of April to pursue a lease option for the facility now requires a formal bidding process, and it is suggested to undertake a process which aligns with the principles of procurement law. It is therefore proposed to follow the principles of competitive procedure and negotiation pursuant to the principles of the Public Contracts Act 2015. I think that the final point I just wanted to, for avoidance of any doubt, is that the process subject to approval tonight for the recommendations, Chair, the process will be launched tomorrow on live, where the information that's been detailed in comments in terms of heads of terms, the asset register and everything else regarding the building will be available for the bidders, and that will be available for them to look at then, and it will be an open process on the basis of submitting basically permitting any prospective economic operator or organisation to view the opportunity and submit a bid if they choose to do so. The process will be managed by officers, and all communication once live, subject to your approval tonight, must be via the portal to ensure a fair, transparent and auditable process. Just finally, Chair, I'd just like to point out section 4.4 of the report and just to detail regulations, the council is required to undertake a formal selection exercise to ensure it complies with the openness and transparency provisions of the procurement regulations, and will accept all submissions for the venue by the third sector and commercial sector. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So, that being said, is everybody happy to proceed with the current report as written? Can I ask for all those in favour? Any against? So that's carried.